Ever wonder why some people seem to live in their own little universe, bouncing from one wild idea to the next like they're starring in their own quirky sitcom? Chances are, you've just met a Gemini. These folks are the Zodiac's resident enigmas, and today we're diving headfirst into the cosmic chaos that makes them so wonderfully strange. Welcome to our deep dive into 15 reasons why Gemini is so weird, where we'll unpack all the quirks, charms, and downright head-scratching moments that define this air sign. Whether you're a Gemini trying to figure out why you're wired this way, or you've got a Gemini in your life who leaves you equal parts fascinated and confused, you're in for a treat. Let's kick things off by setting the stage. Gemini, born between May 21st and June 20th, is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, curiosity, and let's be real, a little bit of mischief. Think of them as the friend who's always got a story to tell, a plan up their sleeve, and probably a backup plan for that plan. They're air signs, which means their minds are like a breeze, always moving, sometimes gentle, sometimes a full-on tornado. What makes them stand out, though, is their vibe. Geminis are like a walking paradox, blending charm with chaos in a way that's impossible to ignore. One day they're cracking you up with their wit, the next they're deep in a debate about whether aliens built the pyramids. It's that unpredictability that earns them their weird badge of honor, and trust me, we're gonna have fun exploring it. Now, I know what you might be thinking, astrology can feel like a lot to unpack, especially if you're just here for the laughs. But don't worry, this isn't a lecture hall. Picture us grabbing coffee, swapping stories about that one Gemini we know who probably invented the term textra. Maybe you're nodding along because you're a Gemini yourself, or you're thinking of your best friend, coworker, or that cousin who's always got a new obsession. Whoever you're picturing, this video's for you. We're gonna break down exactly why Geminis are the way they are, from their lightning-fast brains to their knack for keeping everyone on their toes. And let's be honest, whether you're a die-hard Zodiac fan or you just stumbled here because you're curious, there's something about Gemini's energy that pulls you in. So, what's on the horizon? We've got 15 juicy reasons lined up, each one peeling back another layer of the Gemini mystery. We'll talk about how they can seem like two totally different people sharing one body, why their curiosity could probably fuel a rocket ship, and yeah, we'll even get into those moments when they ghost you only to pop back up with a random meme at midnight. It's gonna be a wild ride, full of laughs, a few, oh my gosh, that's so true, moments, and maybe even a little love for the Geminis who make our lives a bit more colorful. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's jump into the cosmic whirlwind that is Gemini. Ready to discover why they're the Zodiac's most delightfully weird sign? Let's do this. 1. They're basically two people in one. Alright, let's dive into the first reason why Geminis are so wonderfully weird. They're basically two people sharing one body. Picture this, you're hanging out with a Gemini, and one moment they're all sunshine, cracking jokes and planning a spontaneous road trip, and then, out of nowhere, they're deep in thought, maybe even a little moody, like they've just switched characters in a play. That's the magic of their symbol, the twins, which isn't just some cool Zodiac logo, it's the key to their whole vibe. Geminis have this knack for flipping between different sides of themselves, and it's not fake or forced, it's just who they are. I knew this Gemini who'd be the life of the party, charming everyone with stories, then the next day, she'd be curled up at home, sketching in her journal like a total introvert. It's like she had two settings, and you never knew which one you'd get. This duality can catch you off guard, especially if you're trying to figure them out, because just when you think you've got a handle on their personality, they surprise you with a whole new angle. But here's the thing, it's not confusing once you get the hang of it. That ability to be both the extroverted hype machine and the reflective dreamer is what makes them so dynamic. They're like a walking plot twist, keeping everyone around them guessing in the best way possible. Sure, it's a little weird to watch someone embody two vibes at once, but it's also what makes Geminis so captivating. You're never bored with them, because there's always another layer to discover, another spark that keeps you hooked. 2. They talk faster than you can think. Moving on to reason number 2, Geminis talk faster than most of us can even think. If you've ever been around one, you know their words come flying out like they're racing against a stopwatch, and somehow, they make it sound effortless. Thanks to Mercury, their ruling planet, they've got a gift for communication that's honestly next level. They can jump from chatting about their favorite TV show to explaining some obscure history fact, all without missing a beat. I had this Gemini coworker who could pitch an entire project idea in the time it took me to grab a coffee, and by the end, I was sold, even if I barely kept up. It's like their brain is wired to process and share information at lightning speed, and they love it. What's wild is how they'll weave in random tidbits, like the science behind why rain smells good, right in the middle of a casual lunch convo. You're sitting there, nodding, trying to process, while they're already on to the next topic. It can feel like you're sprinting to catch up, but that's part of their charm, they're so excited to share what's in their head that it's contagious. You might walk away from a chat with a Gemini feeling like you just took a crash course in, well, everything. Sure, their mile-a-minute style is a bit weird, especially if you're more of a slow and steady talker, but it's hard not to admire how they light up a conversation. They're like verbal fireworks, bright and impossible to ignore, making every moment with them feel alive. 3. Their mood swings are a roller coaster. Now, let's talk about reason 3, Geminis have mood swings that could rival a roller coaster. 1 minute, they're all smiles, hyped about a new idea or cracking up over something silly, and the next, they're quiet, maybe even a little distant, like a cloud just rolled over their sunny disposition. It's not that they're unstable, it's more like their emotions are on a fast track, shifting gears quicker than you can say, what just happened. I remember hanging out with my Gemini buddy, and we were having the best time planning a game night, full of laughs and big plans. Then, out of nowhere, he got super thoughtful, staring at his phone, muttering about some old memory that popped into his head. It was like someone flipped a switch. These shifts can throw you for a loop if you're not used to it, because Geminis don't always broadcast what's going on inside. They'll bounce back just as fast, though, ready to dive into the next adventure like nothing happened. What's fascinating is how they ride these waves so naturally, it's just part of their airy, ever-changing nature. You might be tempted to ask them to pick a mood, but honestly, that's missing the point. Their emotional zigzags are what keep things lively, like a plot twist in your favorite show. Yeah, it's a little weird to watch their feelings do a 180 in record time, but it's also what makes them so real and unpredictable, adding a spark to every moment you share with them. 4. They know a little about everything. Here's reason number 4, Geminis know a little about pretty much everything, and it's kind of mind-blowing. You ever meet someone who can casually drop facts about, say, how bees communicate, then pivot to recommending a hidden gem of a diner in your town? That's a Gemini for you. Their brains are like sponges, soaking up random info from every corner of the universe, and they love sharing it. I had a Gemini classmate who'd chime in during study group with tidbits about everything, how vinyl records are made, why certain plants glow under blacklight, you name it. It wasn't showing off, she just couldn't help herself. It's like their curiosity has no off switch, and because of that, they've got this mental library of trivia that's always growing. What's wild is how they pull these facts out at the perfect moment, making you wonder if they secretly moonlight as a game show host. You could be debating pizza toppings, and they'll hit you with a fun fact about the history of mozzarella. It's the kind of thing that makes you pause and go, really? But that's what makes them so fun to be around, they turn everyday chats into mini adventures. Sure, it's a bit weird to have a walking encyclopedia as a friend, especially when they know more about your hobbies than you do, but it's also pretty awesome. Geminis make you see the world through a lens of wonder, and you can't help but get swept up in their endless fascination. 5. They're allergic to boredom. Reason 5 is a big one, Geminis are straight up allergic to boredom. Seriously, the idea of sitting still or sticking to a routine makes them twitch like they've had one too many espressos. Their minds crave action, new experiences, anything to keep the spark alive. If things get too predictable, they're out here inventing ways to shake it up, whether that's picking up a new skill or convincing everyone for an impromptu karaoke night. I knew this Gemini who decided, on a random Tuesday, to learn how to make sushi, start a blog, and sign up for a dance class, all because she said her weekend felt too quiet. Most of us would be fine chilling with a movie, but for Geminis, that's not enough. They need stimulation like we need air, and they'll chase it no matter what. It's not about being reckless, it's about their soul screaming for variety. That's why they're always the ones suggesting wild plans, like turning a casual hike into a full-on scavenger hunt. You might roll your eyes at first, but by the end, you're laughing harder than you have in weeks. Their restlessness can seem a little weird, especially if you're more of a homebody who loves a cozy night in. But let's be real, that energy is infectious. Geminis have this gift for pulling you out of your comfort zone and showing you how much fun life can be when you say yes to the unexpected. They're like a shot of adrenaline, keeping the world spinning a little faster. 6. They ghost. Then text you at 2 a.m. Now for reason 6, Geminis are notorious for ghosting you, only to slide back into your life with a random 2 a.m. text like nothing happened. You know the deal, one day they're blowing up your phone with memes and plans, and then, poof, they vanish into thin air for a week. Just when you're wondering if they moved to another continent, your phone lights up with a message about some wild idea they had in the middle of the night. I had a Gemini friend who'd go radio silent for days, leaving me thinking I'd said something wrong. Then, out of nowhere, he'd send me a link to a conspiracy theory about Bigfoot with zero context. It's like they operate on their own time zone, where disappearing and reappearing is just part of the package. The thing is, it's not personal, they're just off chasing whatever's caught their attention, whether it's a new project or a deep dive into some random obsession. When they do pop back up, they've got this knack for picking up right where you left off, no awkwardness needed. It can drive you nuts if you're someone who likes consistency, and yeah, it's a little weird to have a friend who's part-time Houdini. But here's why it's kind of endearing: those late-night texts, those out-of-the-blue check-ins, they show how Geminis keep you in their orbit, even when they're off doing their thing. Their unpredictable rhythm is just part of their charm, making every reconnection feel like a little gift. 7. They're social butterflies. Until they're not. Let's jump into reason 7. Geminis are social butterflies, but only until they're not. Picture them at a gathering, working the room like they were born for it, their laughter bouncing off the walls as they connect with everyone from your boss to the bartender. They've got this magnetic energy that draws people in, making every conversation feel like a mini party. But here's the twist: just when you think they're the ultimate extrovert, they'll slip away, maybe even vanish for a few days to recharge in their own little world. I had a Gemini neighbor who'd host these epic barbecues, charming every guest with stories and playlists, only to spend the next week holed up, binge-watching sci-fi shows with her dog. It's not that they're faking the social vibe, they genuinely love connecting, but their battery runs out fast. When it does, they need solitude like it's oxygen, trading crowded rooms for quiet corners without warning. If you're not ready for it, their sudden retreat can seem odd, like they've got a secret double life. But that's just how they roll, balancing their outgoing spark with moments of deep introspection. It's a bit weird to watch them flip from life of the party to lone wolf, but it's also kind of inspiring. Geminis show us it's okay to love the spotlight and still crave downtime, making them feel like the coolest paradox you'll ever meet. 8. They overthink everything. Now for reason 8, Geminis overthink absolutely everything, and it's like their brain is running a marathon with no finish line. Give them a simple choice, like what to order for takeout, and they'll spiral into a mental debate about flavor profiles, budgets, and whether they're betraying their diet. It's not indecision, it's their mind dissecting every angle like they're solving a puzzle. I had a Gemini teammate who once spent half a lunch break analyzing a single email from our manager, wondering if the word "great" was sarcastic or genuine. By the time we got back to work, she'd written a mental novel about it. Their thoughts move so fast, they can turn a casual moment into a full-blown investigation, replaying conversations or imagining scenarios that'll probably never happen. It's like their head is a busy control room, buzzing with what-ifs and maybes. If you catch them zoning out, chances are they're lost in a labyrinth of their own making, weighing options most of us wouldn't even notice. This overthinking can seem a little weird, especially when they stress over details that feel tiny to everyone else. But here's the upside: it's proof of how deeply they care. That whirlwind of thoughts means they're always trying to get things right, whether it's a friendship or a Friday night plan. Their busy minds make them quirky, sure, but also wonderfully thoughtful, adding depth to every moment you share. 9. They're obsessed with new hobbies. Reason 9 is all about how Geminis are obsessed with new hobbies, diving into them like they've found the secret to life. One week, they're all about perfecting sourdough bread, watching tutorials and buying fancy flour, only to drop it for something totally different, like learning to DJ or collecting rare coins. Their enthusiasm is through the roof, but their attention span? Not so much. I knew a Gemini who got hooked on calligraphy, filling her apartment with pens and parchment, swearing she'd start an Etsy shop. 2 weeks later, she was deep into rock climbing, talking about summits like she'd been scaling cliffs her whole life. It's not that they're flaky, they just crave the thrill of discovery, and once they've scratched that itch, they're on to the next big thing. Their passion burns bright but brief, leaving a trail of half-finished projects that they'll swear they'll revisit someday. If you're the type who sticks to one hobby forever, their constant pivots might seem weird, like they can't commit to anything. But that's missing the point: their love for new pursuits is what keeps them vibrant. They're not chasing perfection, they're chasing excitement, and they'll drag you along for the ride, convincing you to try pottery or salsa dancing before they move on again. That restless creativity is what makes Geminis so fun, turning every day into a chance to explore something fresh. 10. They're secretly super sensitive. Here's reason 10, Geminis are secretly super sensitive, even if they don't always show it. On the surface, they're all quick wit and breezy charm, deflecting tough moments with a joke or a clever comeback. But underneath that polished exterior, they feel things deeply, and little slights can hit them harder than you'd expect. I had a Gemini friend who'd laugh off a bad day at work, tossing out one-liners to keep the mood light, but later he'd confess how much a coworker's comment had stung. It's like they've got this invisible shield, protecting a heart that's softer than they let on. They might not cry in public or wear their emotions on their sleeve, but trust me, they're taking it all in, processing every word and vibe around them. That sensitivity fuels their empathy, making them great listeners when you need to vent, but it also means they can bruise easily, even if they hide it behind a grin. If you don't know them well, their tough act can make this side of them seem weird, like they're playing a role to dodge vulnerability. But that's what makes them special. Geminis blend strength and softness in a way that's quietly powerful. Their hidden depth is a reminder they're not just the life of the party, they're also the ones who'll get you, no questions asked, when life gets heavy. 11. They're the kings and queens of wit. Reason 11 celebrates Geminis as the kings and queens of wit, serving up humor that's sharp enough to cut through any dull moment. Their minds are like comedy machines, churning out clever one-liners and playful jabs faster than you can keep up. Whether they're roasting a friend in good fun or dropping a perfectly timed quip, they've got a knack for making everyone around them crack up. I was at a family dinner with a Gemini uncle who turned a boring convo about weather into a hilarious riff about clouds having secret meetings. Before we knew it, the whole table was in stitches, and he was just getting started. It's not about stealing the show, they just can't help but sprinkle their quick thinking into every interaction, turning mundane chats into mini stand-up routines. Their humor isn't mean-spirited either, it's clever, inclusive, and often layered with a wink that pulls you into the joke. If you're not ready for it, their lightning-fast wit can seem a bit weird, like they're always one step ahead in a game you didn't know you were playing. But that's the beauty of it, Geminis use their words to light up the room, making every hangout feel like an event. Their gift for laughter is what keeps you coming back, ready for the next zinger that'll have you smiling long after the moment's passed. 12. They hate making decisions. Now for reason 12, Geminis hate making decisions, and it's like watching someone wrestle with their own brain. Ask them something simple, like where to grab dinner, and they'll freeze, caught in a mental tug-of-war between every possible option. It's not that they don't have opinions, their heads are buzzing with pros, cons, and wildcards you didn't even consider. I had a Gemini cousin who turned picking a movie into an hour-long saga, debating genres, runtimes, and whether we'd regret skipping a classic for a new release. In the end, she suggested we just watch 2 films back-to-back to avoid choosing. That's the Gemini way, they see so many angles that settling on one feels like a betrayal of all the others. Their airy nature loves keeping things open-ended, which is great for brainstorming but less fun when you're starving and just want them to pick a burger joint. If you're a decisive type, their hesitation can seem weird, like they're dodging responsibility for no reason. But really, it's their curiosity at work, they're trying to imagine every outcome to make the perfect call. That indecision might slow things down, but it's also kind of sweet, showing how much they want to get it right. Geminis teach us to embrace the possibilities, even if it means waiting a bit longer for pizza. 13. They're curious to a fault. Let's dive into reason 13, Geminis are curious to a fault, and their need to know everything can lead them down some wild rabbit holes. Their minds are like sponges, always soaking up new information, whether it's practical or totally out there. You might catch them researching the migration patterns of penguins at midnight, not because they're studying biology, but because they saw a cute video and got hooked. I had a Gemini coworker who spent an entire weekend digging into the history of typewriters after finding one at a thrift store. By Monday, he was telling us about their inventors and why they're making a comeback. It wasn't for a project, he just couldn't resist unraveling the mystery. That's the thing with Geminis, their curiosity doesn't discriminate. They'll ask a million questions about your job, your weekend, or why your coffee order is so specific, and they genuinely want the answers. It's like they're on a lifelong treasure hunt for knowledge, and no detail is too small to spark their interest. If you're more go with the Tao, their endless quest for answers might seem a bit weird, like they're turning every moment into a trivia game. But that's what makes them so fascinating, they see the world as a giant puzzle waiting to be explored. Their insatiable wonder pulls you in, making you curious too, and suddenly you're both geeking out over something you never thought you'd care about. 14. They're impossible to pin down. Reason 14 is all about how Geminis are impossible to pin down, like trying to catch a breeze in your hands. Just when you think you've got them figured out, they switch things up, revealing a new side that leaves you wondering who they'll be next. They're not being shady, it's their nature to evolve, always chasing the next big idea or vibe. I knew a Gemini who'd show up to our weekly trivia night with a different look every time, one week rocking a leather jacket and talking about motorcycles, the next in cozy sweaters, raving about a poetry slam she'd just joined. It wasn't an act, she was just flowing with whatever inspired her that day. Trying to label a Gemini is like trying to predict the weather in spring, one minute it's sunny, the next it's a storm, and they're thriving in both. They'll commit to plans, then pivot at the last second because something shinier caught their eye, and somehow, they make it work. If you're someone who loves routine, their constant shape-shifting can feel a bit weird, like they're dodging definition on purpose. But that's the magic of Geminis, they don't fit in boxes because they're too busy painting outside the lines. Their elusive spark is what keeps you hooked, always eager to see what they'll do next, like following a story that never gets predictable. 15. They're just uniquely them. Here we are at reason 15, the big finale of our list. Geminis are just uniquely them, and that's the heart of what makes them so wonderfully weird. Strip away all the quirks we've talked about, and you're left with a soul that shines in its own one-of-a-kind way, refusing to blend into the background. They don't follow scripts or chase trends, they carve their own path, mixing chaos and charm into a vibe that's impossible to replicate. I think of my Gemini friend who'd walk into any room, whether it was a stuffy work event or a chill bonfire, and somehow make it her own. She'd share a quirky story, maybe about the time she tried to teach her cat to high-five, and suddenly everyone was smiling, drawn to her unfiltered energy. That's what Geminis do, they bring a spark that feels like it was custom-made for the moment, even if it catches you off guard. They're not trying to be different, it's just who they are, embracing every contradiction with a grin. One day they're dreaming big, sketching out plans to travel the world, and the next they're content just rearranging their bookshelf for the third time that month. It's like they've got this inner compass that guides them to be true to themselves, no matter how wild the journey looks to everyone else. If you try to box them in, they'll slip right out, not because they're stubborn, but because their spirit needs room to dance. Sure, their unapologetic individuality can seem a bit weird, especially in a world that loves labels and predictability. But that's their superpower. Geminis remind us to embrace our own weirdness, to live boldly as ourselves, flaws and all. They're proof that being uniquely you is the best kind of magic there is. Alright, folks, we've made it to the end of our cosmic journey, and what a ride it's been unpacking the 15 reasons why Geminis are the Zodiac's most delightfully weird sign. Let's take a quick spin through what we've learned. We've seen how they juggle two personalities like it's no big deal, talk so fast you can barely keep up, and ride mood swings that'd make anyone dizzy. They've got a brain full of random facts, a serious aversion to anything boring, and a texting style that's basically now you see me, now you don't. They charm crowds 1 minute and vanish for some me time the next, overthink the tiniest details, and jump from hobby to hobby like they're collecting life experiences. Don't forget their secret sensitive side, their razor-sharp wit, and their struggle to pick a side in even the simplest decisions. Plus, their endless curiosity, their knack for dodging definition, and that unbeatable spark that's just so them. Geminis are like a kaleidoscope, every turn shows you something new, colorful, and totally unexpected. Now, I want you to think about the Geminis in your life. Maybe it's you, always chasing that next big idea, or a friend who keeps you guessing with their wild energy. Whoever they are, they've got a way of making every moment a little brighter, a little weirder, and a whole lot more fun. That's what this is all about, celebrating the quirks that make Geminis such a gift to the world. So, here's where you come in. If you're a Gemini, I'm dying to know which of these reasons hit home for you. Are you the trivia king, the hobby hopper, or maybe the one sending late-night texts? Drop it in the comments and let's get the convo going. If you've got a Gemini in your circle, tag them and see if they own up to their weirdness, I bet they'll laugh and nod along. And hey, this isn't just for Gemini fans. Tell me your sign, Laura, let's see what kind of cosmic vibes you're bringing to the table. I'm curious to hear your stories, so spill the tea, what's the weirdest thing a Gemini's ever done around you? We're building a community here, so hit that like button if you had fun, subscribe to keep up with more Zodiac adventures, and tap that bell so you never miss a new video. I've got plenty more to share, from spicy Scorpio secrets to chill Taurus vibes, and I want to know what you want next. Your comments help me plan, so don't hold back. Thanks for hanging out with me today, it's been a blast diving into the Gemini whirlwind together. Keep shining, keep being your awesome, unique selves, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay curious out there.